Welcome back to the Wellness Wire. This is Eric. This is Wade. And with Plugged In Recovery, this is episode number 5.
Yes.
I believe we're rolling along. And yeah, how are you?
I'm glad to be here, dude. As always, hanging out with my best friend.
Love it. We got a lot of exciting stuff to talk about. Maybe some not exciting stuff to talk about. I don't know. But yeah, we're just gonna kind of get into a checkpoint, a checkup, a check-in of what's been going on, some stuff in the pipeline, and yeah, we'll just kind of let you guys know where we're at. For anybody that follows us on social media, you know, we were just in Jacksonville, Florida.
Yes.
TPC Sawgrass, for the East Coast Symposium. A lot of cool stuff going on there. Why don't we just talk a little bit about a recap and, you know, what was going on?
So, amazing event. Awesome venue. I think the biggest thing is you see different trends in the symposiums. Denver's trend was really on ketamine and other treatments. Cape Cod was a lot more on family addiction and what that does to the family. And then East Coast seemed to have an underlying thread of AI and where that's going in the behavioral health space.
Right. Yeah, a lot of cool stuff as far as like utilization reviews and how they're integrating AI. Also how insurance companies are kind of using their own AI crawlers to try to pinpoint when you're using AI. And so it's just a lot of like AI on AI type stuff, but you easily get caught up in the mix. But yeah, it was an interesting conference, and there's a lot of cool things that are happening. You went out there early.
Yes, I got to be out there 2 days early and a day and a half early, and it was a trek.
Dude, why don't you just walk everybody through your journey of getting to Jacksonville, Florida?
So if anybody knows, TPC Sawgrass is probably arguably top 10 golf course in the world, and definitely a bucket list item for myself. So I, about 2 weeks prior, had made it up in my head that I'm never going to go to Ponte Verde, Florida again. So if I'm staying at the resort, I might as well play this golf course. And there was one tee time that was open at 11 o'clock on a Wednesday morning, which was the day before I had to be there to set up. So I bought my flight out late Tuesday night. And of course, in the treatment center space, in the sober living space, in the behavioral health space in general, you never know what you're going to get on a day-to-day basis. So, of course, Tuesday was a jam-packed day, and it was one fire after another, which is my least favorite thing to deal with, but seems what I primarily get dealt, which is part of it. But we leave at 3 o'clock-ish for a 4:40. The flight was at 4:45, so I had to be there at 4, and we run into a little bit of traffic. We also had a little bit of fun with the Tesla Model 3 and fully self-driving.
We could have made it in time.
We could have made it in time.
We decided to use the autopilot, the full self-driving on the Model 3, and it just did not get us there quick enough.
It didn't get us there quick enough.
We also went to the wrong terminal at first. I do believe that was the actual difference maker.
Oof.
We dropped him off at Terminal 4. He's in Terminal 3. He had to walk back over to the car. We drive over. That was the difference.
It was the difference. And, you know, when you add up, it's the little things. It's always the little things that get you. It's a game of
inches.
It's a game of inches. And so I missed that flight, and I end up having to get a flight out that night because my only other option was to fly in at like 1 o'clock the next day. And American Airlines didn't seem to feel the same level of importance of why I had to be there at 11 and not miss this tea time. So if anybody knows where the state of Arizona is and the state of Florida is, and that path of what that would look like, the only route for me to get there was to get on a 8 o'clock flight to San Francisco, so I could land in San Francisco at like 10:30 to take a 11:15 flight out to Orlando and rent a car in Orlando. And I got there at like 6:30 in the morning, rented the car in Orlando, and then drive from Orlando to Jacksonville so I could pull into the clubhouse at about 10:30 a.m.
But you made it.
I made it. It was a golf trip I'll never, ever forget. But it was wonderful. I gassed out on about the 15th hole, but it was some of the premier golf I've ever played.
Yeah, that's awesome, man. You can't pass up TPC Sawgrass or Pinehurst number 2 or Augusta. Those are just places where if there's an opportunity, you have to just make it work. No, that's cool though. You made it. Played around, then we got to the conference. That was a good time.
Yeah.
It was a good time. Shout out to the Zealy guys. They're a good time. Yeah, man. I mean, why don't you just touch a little bit more on the experience out there, kind of what you brought back from that, and if anything is going to be integrated into Plugged In and what that looks like.
Yeah, so with the conference in general, I think it's always great to be out there and meet other providers, other treatment centers, make all of those kind of connections. The biggest thing is it's the details that are in the small meetings. That's really what you find in any space that you're in. It's, going out to lunch with someone, meeting somebody else. This person knows this person. They can help you get this contract through with this provider just a little bit faster. They can open the door that wasn't a door you knew could be opened maybe at this time. So there's a lot of things that I'll be implementing and some different contracts and stuff that will be in place that I probably wouldn't discuss in an open forum like this, but it is definitely always worth the trip, and it's really what you make out of it. I think, just even having the booth there was really good to have a lot of people we could introduce our program to. We got to partner up with Monument, so share that space, and there's someone that, we trust runs a very similar program to what we offer down here in Arizona. Got to see the ocean. Almost got eaten by a shark.
Dude, I literally stopped filming like 5 seconds before like a 4-foot shark swam like within 15 feet of you. And then he didn't want to believe me, but I swear it was like he's right here and there was a shark just swimming like right there, maybe 20 feet off the shoreline.
I wanted to play tough, but I didn't get back in the water after that.
Yeah, no, and I literally was taking a video, and I stop here, and as I start looking back this way, there's a shark swimming like right next to you. So missed opportunity there, but that's okay.
Yeah,
not for you to get bit by a shark, but get it on film.
Get it on film. Missed opportunity for the shark, I guess.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, missed opportunities all around, but it was cool. It was cool to be out there. We didn't see any alligators while we were there.
No.
Which is like we're next to the water the entire time.
Yeah, but it's when you have that type of money of those houses that were in that neighborhood, is they probably do a pretty good job of
There's no pest control for an alligator.
I don't know about that.
You don't just spray and they don't come around.
Yeah, there's got to be something.
Yeah, they stick around. They like the swampier areas.
It's probably true.
Yeah.
It's probably true.
Well, yeah, no, it was a good trip. Now we're back. A lot of other stuff going on with the houses, with the treatment center. Maybe just a quick state of the union. I mean, what's going on in the plugged in world? What's on the horizon? Anything exciting? Wait. Tyler just hit a year, though.
Tyler hit a year.
That's warranted. I feel like Tyler, a BHT / house manager / maintenance guy.
/ case manager.
Oh, yeah. I hit him with the BHT. Wow. I hit him with the BHT. Case manager, house manager, maintenance. I mean, nothing that this guy doesn't do. He just hit a year last week. Big congratulations. Yeah. Worth giving the shout out on the pod. Anyways, go ahead.
What about 18 months? Then somebody special hit
18 months is in 6 months he'll have 18 months.
No, you, dude.
That's how that works. So, but yeah, man. I mean, what's going on in the plugged in space?
It's been a really busy 3 weeks. We transitioned into bringing aboard 24/7 nursing, which was a huge undertaking and a lot of process stuff that's involved with that. Man, the one thing that I never try to get to a position where I don't see where I don't want to see that I can't improve. And when there's processes and stuff in place of onboarding, because, we started with this really close-knit, almost incestual type family as we started the treatment center. And a lot of it comes from the sober living people and people you've known and things of that nature. We hand-selected a lot of people to start this center. And then you start bringing in nurses and medical director who, is now overseeing the nursing and just different onboarding things. And there's lots of process stuff that had to get ironed out of actual onboarding and KIPU access and things of that nature that it always makes us better. I think there's some people there that it might frustrate you because they nitpick the little things sometimes, but I feel like the nitpicking is what makes you better. You have to have someone with a different perspective that is just going to give their opinion, and yes, maybe something is feasible, maybe something is not feasible, but at the same time, if you look at those little areas that you can improve, at the end of the day, it's going to give you better client care. At the end of the day, it's going to give you a better system for doing things. So it's how do you take that and really progress with it? The biggest thing I've really seen from that overall process is we lacked in a lot of areas. There is a lot of areas that an infancy company, a startup company, need to have in place to make people feel that when they came in, they could feel confident in how they were onboarded and what they knew and getting out on the floor. It wasn't really a trial by fire type of situation. So that is something that we brought on. 24/7 nursing since then has been rolled out, and it's been really wonderful to have. It allows us to now also go into a true dual diagnosis facility, so we can start treating a little bit more mental health with all of the care that people are going to receive. So I'm really excited about transitioning a little bit more into that instead of, co-occurring or it being really secondary, is having mental health and substance abuse disorder as two primary things. We also went through a incredibly excruciating Joint Commission process, which if any centers out there have done, they can know it is scrutinizing, it is excessive, and it is a lot of anxiety. Shout out to Desiree, who you can't, if you could duplicate 10 of her, she is the most amazing human being. She puts in the work. She handles it all with grace. She always has a good attitude. She treats people with respect. Just big shout out to her and all the extra work she put in. And for someone who's never gone through it before, had absolutely made that process look like she's done it a million times.
Yeah, that's a big one, right? Having that accreditation just opens the door, and it's just that natural next step to, just trying to, widen the net of helping as many people as possible, and those are certain things that most insurances are looking for. So super crucial. A lot of people on the team stepped up throughout that time, I know, and just really put in the hours to get it across the finish line.
Yes.
If nobody likes somebody coming in and just doing a compliance inspection, because you just never know what's going to happen. Maybe you're scared someone's going to say something that's just going to derail it. But at the end of the day, it was good. First try. That's pretty amazing. And now we're looking forward to Thanksgiving. Thanksgiving's coming up this upcoming week. And it's always good to kind of look back. I think Facebook memories last week, it was this time last year, we're setting up 2 houses simultaneously in Scottsdale and Chandler.
Ugh.
And I remember back during that time, I think it was like Jeremiah, Zach. Yeah, we just had like a crew of dudes from the houses, and like we were up in Scottsdale, and they were making trips to American Furniture and then dropping things off, and then they're at a different American Furniture down on the East Valley to go drop stuff off there, and we're like setting up frantically all this furniture and everything, and then like at like midnight go down to Chandler and set up those stuff. But yeah, dude, it just looked different. It just looked a little different this time last year than it does this year.
That was one of the craziest undertakings that I think we've had. No, man, we've had so much fun, and I love growing, and most importantly is I love the different levels of how we get to help people. You take someone, so many people who have just done the track that we suggest, and it's nothing that we either didn't do, and really it's not like we don't have the copyright or the trademark on it, right? It's something that was taught to us of finish a 30-day program, try to do some type of outpatient. If you're not doing outpatient, get to work, make sure you're attending meetings, you're checking in, you have a sponsor, you're doing these little things, and your life's about to get abundantly better. Just don't get in your own way. And, you see people like Zach, you see people who now has a kid, right?
Yeah.
You have Tyler, you have Jeremiah, like you have all of these people who have stuck to the deal, who graduated a great program, who then came into our houses and did what they were supposed to do, and they get to live abundant lives today, and it's really cool to just have a piece of that. It's really awesome to now be on the other side of this with like the actual treatment. We just saw someone graduate today, and this guy, when I meet someone and they literally have to fight with themselves every day to stay, and then at the end of that 30 days, you really get to see that transformation that took place. I mean, that is just the coolest experience to be a part of, and to have kids that get their dad home for Thanksgiving and Christmas, and you get a wife who is willing to give another shot or work on things with her husband and try to keep their family together because dad was willing to put in the work. Like, that is the miracle that takes place ahead of you every single day, but to be there to get to witness it firsthand is so awesome.
Yeah, that is cool. And then eventually, like down the road, if there's like an outpatient or even a detox added onto that, I mean, those are just new levels of care where you can just see people at different stages along the continuum. Because it is, you get different results depending on what phase you're getting somebody in. Detox is always going to be probably the most interesting out of all the continuum, but then again, that's like your first stop. So
yes, and there's something with this industry where you have those key select partner referrals, and it's playing that back and forth game of like trusted people, and you have to try people out, and you have to see, what is their process like. And there's a couple that we have in the area that I truly really like. There's a couple that I wouldn't use again, and you kind of learn as you go until you can keep everything under one roof, and that is why we have really decided that we are going to keep it under one roof. So we're currently looking at a couple spaces. It'll be really exciting to build that out. Hopefully it's a facility that can have both the detox and the outpatient all in one. So that's really my goal, is to build something like that. And I think it is in the works as we speak. So not too far actually from where we are sitting right now, which would be, I mean, to me, that's where it's at. It's just how do you get to have that initial phone call, get them in the door, get them through detox, get them into treatment, get them into outpatient, get them into a sober living, and then get them back to their families.
Yeah, and I think there's a lot of benefits to having it all in one space, because it does get a little chaotic when you're like, oh, you have to go here, and then you're getting transported here, then you're going here, and it's like if you go to one detox, then residential, then outpatient, and they're all three different facilities, it's a lot. It's a lot to deal with. And I think it makes it easier if you're able to do the full continuum with like one just consistent experience. And then even to be able to like step down into just like a sober living home after that and have that all still under the same umbrella would be pretty cool. There's places that do it, and I think we would, succeed with that, man. Yeah, it's interesting. That's interesting. And to circle back to Thanksgiving, I mean, obviously, season of gratitude.
Yeah.
Season of gratitude. I think this time of year is always like you're looking forward to the new year, right? And what's on the horizon. And with that comes a lot of reflection as well as to what's already happened this year. I feel like it's been a pretty eventful year, not just for us, but like I feel like most people I know have had pretty eventful years this year. Why don't you just touch on some things that you're grateful for this season, some reflection on this past year, and again, just like what you're looking forward to the most coming up in the new year.
So I love what you said there, is because a lot of times I think we can spend too much time looking at what we're going to do next year. And for me, those plans have already started. So I really hyper focus. That's the best part about addiction, I think. And that is like alcoholism at its finest, is that hyper focus. You're like obsessed with one thing, and no longer is it the drink or the drug, but it can be on how you're going to help people, how you're going to grow things, how you can expand and do this type of stuff. So it's super easy to fall into that trap, because that trap can become very normal. But you do have to take some time to realize, like, how far have you come? And are the road bumps that you're experiencing or going to experience, like, those are probably all part of the territory. I've tried to find a lot of gratitude for the hard days, and I feel like lately I've had a ton of hard days. There's lots of fires to put out. There seems like there's always something, this problem to solve, this, and it comes with the territory. But the biggest thing I have gratitude is I'm healthy. My family's healthy. All the people I love and care about are healthy. They're all safe. I get to grow this business that I absolutely love in this thing that's a business. It's a business that's not about profit. It's a business that's really about just like out there helping people and making an impact, which is, part of our bigger 3, 5, 7-year vision, is like, how do we make a ripple effect on the recovery community as a whole. And I think that we're in the early stages of that. So if we're tracking towards that, that's progression. And I find gratitude in, being able to really reflect on myself over the last year. And I think there's something that you can probably relate to is what things have I put more importance on, and what things have I probably lessened the gas on, and what can I learn from like taking off the gas? What is my involvement in sober livings? What does my involvement in the church look like? What is my involvement? Because it's super easy to get all of these things and get super busy and then lose sight of all the things that it took to get you there. And we see that in sobriety all the time, is like when people start checking the boxes and then they start getting the things back, it becomes so hard to check those boxes off. So getting back to some of those root things and like those routines that had made us so successful in the beginning, I think this is really a little bit of a time to reflect and look at that. But I mean, when it comes to gratitude, everybody in my life is healthy. Everybody in my life is okay and doing all right. So I don't think there's much more I can ask for than that, The rest of the stuff is going to come and go, but those people that you care about that are happy and healthy, and I get to do what I love every single day, I wouldn't trade it for the world.
Yeah, that's good, man.
What about you?
Yeah, man. I mean, it's been a journey this year, and I feel like just like across the board in my life, there's just been a lot of changes, a lot of growth in some areas, and a lot of areas that still are need some work, and it's just a constant process, and it's like that's like the thing about just life, and then you add like recovery on top of it, is like there's never really like a finish line, and it's like it's always this like living, breathing experience where, you know, what you're going through this month is not what it looked like last month, and then a month from now there's going to be different areas that you need to work on, or there's going to be different things to grow through. And yeah, it's just been an interesting year for me. And you know, coming up, you know, just past like the 1.5 year mark on the recovery journey, and just like looking forward to, you know, what that future looks like for me. Yeah, man, there's just been a lot of reflection, and there's been a lot of times where things weren't going my way, and I wasn't doing the things I needed to do, and then all of a sudden it's like I'm ready to just like throw it all away. And I, you know, not too long ago I convinced myself that I was just gonna go work at a movie theater, and and that was like my plan. So yeah, I mean, it's not always this really cohesive like thing where it's like things make sense and you know where you're going. Sometimes you hit those areas in your life where you're like, I don't really know where I'm going. I don't know where I fit in on this. And then all of a sudden it's like the alcoholic mind's like, well, let's just blow it all up. Let's blow it all up and let's just go work at a Harkins movie theater. They're probably hiring for the holiday season. And so, yeah, it's definitely been a journey, and I've learned a lot, and I think there's just a lot of areas to grow, but I'm grateful. You know, one thing that I really am grateful for, and I was reflecting on this earlier, is, you know, they say in recovery, the relationships you build, they're just like real friendships and real relationships that are authentic with people. And, you know, I really did have an opportunity recently where things got really tough for me, and I started, you know, making decisions that maybe weren't in my best interest, or maybe weren't in the most sound of mind. And the people in my life kind of rallying around me, and just to kind of guide me towards maybe, you know, doing something that's a little more healthy for me, or a little more in my better interest, when I really couldn't see it for myself. You know, I really got to experience what that looks like. And I think that's what love really is sometimes you put yourself in a position where you're going down a really, really destructive, or really a path that maybe isn't in your best interest. And I just luckily had enough people in my life that were able to like kind of shield me from myself in that aspect, and help me kind of see that, you know, there is a better way of handling things. And, you know, that's what I really am grateful for right now, is having those relationships and people to kind of look out for me when I'm not necessarily, you know, making the most healthy decisions. So it's definitely been a year. There's a lot of exciting things to come, you know, in the future, but yeah, I think it's
a progression thing. And I noticed that about myself as well. And we have this idea of what it's supposed to look like, and we can get so tunnel visioned in, and we're so used to in our addiction, which we have to realize was such a major portion of our lives. Your body and your mind is so used to the highest of highs and the lowest of lows, and riding those highs. And we forget sometimes that being okay is okay. Like, just being okay is okay. And it can be that alcoholic mind without a drink or a drug in me that can take over. And I can say, but no, it should be this, 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 and this. And I'm not feeling good about this today, and I'm not feeling good with that. And I can start playing that actor scenario over and over again. As if he would do this or she would do that, then like everybody would be happy, and don't you see it? And then I realized that to get where I got today, it wasn't by doing any of those things. So why do I feel like now that I have it, I have to try to latch on to it? And I think for those out there who are struggling in any way, shape, or form, like, your mental health is it's an ongoing process. It's not this thing that you tackle one day or for 1 week, or you have a good month, or you have a good 2-3 months, and all of a sudden you're just set up for the next 10 years. It's an ongoing thing that's going to change and struggle, and this person's not going to act a certain type of way, and it's going to throw off. And it's so easy to play the victim, or to all of a sudden think that everything's happening to me. It's not just happening in the world and life's going on and moving how it's supposed to, but everything is happening to me. And you can get caught in that. And, there's other things that I've had to personally learn and experience, and growth is how to be more assertive in certain areas, and how to say, hey, like, this is what we need, X, Y, and Z. And if we can't get this, then like, we have to figure out a different way to get to this end point, because there's more people that depend on us, and there's more people that care about us. And we have all these people in the house, that 120 guys, 120 girls that are in these houses, and then 10 people in the treatment center, and we're kind of growing rapidly. And at what point do you say, hey, like, these are certain areas that have to get accomplished, but if I'm not, the old adage of like, if I don't have my own oxygen mask on, I'm no good to anybody else. And if I'm so caught up in the if this, that, or I'm just going to press harder, instead of really taking a step back and maybe asking for certain advice, and, taking a couple extra meetings or coffee or lunches that I don't feel I have the time to make or do, but then I find that when I do, everything else just somehow magically starts working itself out. I know next year the same thing will happen 6 different times throughout the year, but like, just trying to be more aware and more cognizant as we like come into that more enlightenment side of like noticing it as it's happening, versus being so reactionary to it. Is like, how do I get out in front of it? How do I know I'm feeling some type of way, and then really processing through that and going another direction? Or am I just going to keep repeating the cycle? But it's super tough when you're wired and you're breaking years of wiring that says like, no, you need to ride these highs and you need to press on, or you're in this low and it's never going to get good again. And like, that doesn't just go away when you get sober.
Yeah, sometimes it even gets a little more amplified, if you're not doing the things that you need to do to kind of be regulated. I think something worth talking about too, the holidays in general can be a really tough time for people, either in recovery or maybe those who are still struggling in active addiction, just being around the family, being in situations that may be like triggering for them, or whatever that it may be. It's a difficult time. Seasonal depression, you see a lot of that this time of year, maybe not so much in Arizona, but other places where they have like actual winters. And, it's a tough time. It's a tough time. And I think this now more than ever, you see people reaching out for help more than other times of years. And so, do you have any advice on maybe how to navigate the trip back home for Thanksgiving, or the time around family that may not quite understand your addiction, or, where you're at in your life, or any of those types of situations?
Yeah. The biggest thing that I can suggest to anyone who has a tough time during the holidays is, have a plan of action. If you have to go home for the holidays or go home for Thanksgiving, maybe there's a meeting that you can find in the area, or maybe you have a sponsee or a sponsor that you can check in with at some certain time. So, even if you're having the best time, you're in the middle of a game of Monopoly and you have to step away for a second so you can take a call, or who knows, maybe it's a blowout, knockdown, drag out fight between you and your mom or dad, and that call saves you from doing something stupid. You just have stuff that's pre-planned and pre-set out for you to do while you're on there, and treat it like a business trip. You're there to enjoy time and be with family, but you're there to be of service and to be a part of. You're not there to take from. You're not there for people to see your side of things. You're there to just be a part of the family. And if you don't have family, there's lots of places and resources and things that you can do or go be of service that are probably going to make you feel 10 times better than just being around your family. Don't get caught up in this person talking about Trump or this person talking about Biden. Like, just go there to be a part of and just a maximum family member as you can be. And And I think when you leave there, you'll not only feel better about yourself, but the other people will feel the change in you, which I think is the most important thing. And it's super weird to see on the sober living side versus now the treatment side is in sober living, everybody I feel like is looking for a house or a place to go or don't want to be out during the holidays. And on the treatment, everybody wants to make it through the holidays before they go get treatment. They go, oh, I could just do sober living or I could just do this. Like, I don't want to have to give up the holidays. It's just a weird dynamic of like, it's going to be my New Year's resolution. So if I'm still bad, I'll go to treatment then. And like the best day to go to treatment was yesterday. The best time to get sober was a week, a month, 10 years ago. So it's just, what are we kicking down the road at this point? Take care of it now. But yeah, if you're dealing with family or anything like that, have a plan of action that you can do and just go there to be a part of, not to take from. You've probably been taken long enough from your family.
Yeah, and if you are here in the Valley, whether you're in sober living or if you're just kind of without a place to go, there's plenty of things to do on Thanksgiving. I know Any Length Meeting Hall is doing a Thanksgiving meal. I think it's between 2 and 5 p.m. On actual Thanksgiving. That's in Chandler, Arizona. The Pigeon Coop always has marathon meetings going on every major holiday as well, so there should be one at the top of every hour in Tempe. There's resources out there of people who are trying to be of service to those who may not have family in state, may not have family to go to or a safe place to go and spend the holiday. So definitely reach out if that is you, because it's not a great time to be alone. Especially if there's a lot of emotion and stuff involved with that. So
yeah, 100%. And I love that you brought up Any Length Meeting Hall, because that's another passion project, right? That's something that we give back to, that we do, and I mean, that's been a learning experience for me. It's something that I let outside opinions and outside voices get to me and get in my head of, hey, you guys started this meeting hall, but it's a plugged-in recovery meeting hall. So what do is I purposely try to stay away from it or pull out of it or be further away, but yet I'm funding it. And instead of just like leaning into, I'm very, very proud that Plugged In was a part of helping this meeting hall get going. There's tons of people who are getting sober because they go to this meeting hall. Plugged In Recovery gets zero proceeds from this meeting hall. I lose money every month by giving to this meeting hall and keeping lights on. And Paul Garcia with P&G does the exact same thing, but rather than pulling away from it is leaning into it of what other companies, what other treatment centers, what other sober livings, what other places put their money where their mouth is by taking any profit or proceeds that they get and then also throwing it back into the recovery community where they're not going to get a dime back from that. What they're doing is they're providing a place for people to go get sober, go stay sober, or get away from their family during the holidays so they have a safe place to go, because maybe they're not ready for that tough conversation, or they're going to feel judged, or every time they go to the bathroom, mom's going to think they're getting high in the bathroom, whatever that is, right? But like, rather than pulling away from it is leaning into it. And I think that's something that I let the outside voices and opinions get in my head. So pulling away from it, but I'm ready to step back into that. And if they want to call it the Plugged In Meeting Hall or the P&G Meeting Hall or whatever it is, like, we're just going to own it at this point, because I'm very, very proud with the work that we've done in Chandler.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a valuable resource. And I think it's important also to know, when you look at the continuum of treatment, you have detox, residential, outpatient, but when you look at what's considered substantial recovery, it's all outside of the scope of that, 5 days to 3 months worth of what's considered treatment. Most of that work and that growth comes after that's all completed, and it's at places that are in the community that are providing 12-step meetings and resources for people to like kind of build more personal connections outside of like a clinical environment. So it is important. It is important to have it, and we are looking for new and creative ways to get it more I guess, on firm foundation. It is still relatively new, and we'd love all the support that we can get, but we've got some great home groups there right now and a lot of people who really care about it. So
Yeah, and that's the cool thing is you get people who care about it and they get invested in it and they get invested in their own recovery and they get invested in serving the community as a whole. But what I learned is versus pulling away from it is like leaning into that. Yeah, I am very proud that me and you took an idea that we talked about outside at the apartment. Like we've talked about so many different ideas and we took it into fruition. Did it happen on time? Absolutely not. Was it way harder than we thought it would be? Absolutely. Just like anything else that we've started or anything else we've done, it takes a lot more work. And if we knew all the work that was involved before we did it, we probably wouldn't have ever started it.
or if we knew all the pitfalls, we probably would have got it done a lot faster. And it just happened to the way it all aligned is it started really becoming a reality at the same time that so many other things started becoming a reality, and it became a lot. But like I said, I mean, there's a lot of people who have really taken ownership of the hall that have been putting a lot of passion into it, and it's starting to really form, and there are really great home groups there. So if you guys are looking for new meetings to try out, and again, Thanksgiving, there's going to be people there with some food and everything else. Any Length Meeting Hall, Chandler, Arizona, it's the place to be.
Or if you don't like the meetings you're going to, there's finally a chance for you to start a meeting and set up a meeting the way that you want a meeting to run, as long as there's certain parameters where recovery is the focus. Stop being a part of the problem and a part of the complaining and a part of that committee, and instead go start your own meeting. You have an opportunity, you have a place that welcomes you, that welcomes your new idea, that wants you to start your own meeting, that wants you to go get involvement from your community. And if other people believe in your idea or your type of meeting that you want to start, as long as it's 12-step or recovery based and smart recovery, some form, Dharma recovery, whatever form of recovery that it is, as long as there's people there to recover, we want you to try it. We want you to start it up instead of being part of the problem. Like get involved in the solution and bring your ideas to fruition. I don't know. That's one thing is it's a new place, so it's a new opportunity to try new things. And if you have stuck around long enough to figure out what doesn't work, and you want to go try something else that you feel is maybe back to the hardcore 12-step ways, or you want to try a Dharma recovery or whatever it is, bring it to Any Length Meeting Hall in Chandler. We would love to have you, and we'll definitely support you and back you, and you have an opportunity to bring your idea or bring your meeting to life, and I think that's pretty cool.
No, that is super cool. And you can find all that information if you just Google Any Length Meeting Hall. We're on Google. If you call that phone number, it goes to my cell phone. So more than happy to answer any questions that you may have. I think what we should start doing at the end of every episode is just highlighting some noteworthy stuff that's happened, because we have the opportunity to celebrate a lot of stuff with 11 sober livings and now the treatment center. We touched on Tyler's 1 year earlier. We know another guy in one of our houses, Rico, just hit 6 months. Amazing progress there. I'm trying to think of what else we have shout out. Former resident Rob and his new wife just celebrated the birth of a kid, which I think is amazing. I just saw them at church this weekend. Super healthy baby boy. Congratulations to them. And just do you have any congratulations you want to put out there?
Well, congratulations to you for 18 months. Congratulations to Senior for his birthday tomorrow. Turning the big 65. So that'll be a good one. He spends some time horizontal, but man, if I can do as much as he can do at 65, I'll be pretty happy.
Yeah, he's a workworkhorse.
He is a workhorse, and he is the coolest thing is to see the impact that he has on all these guys and girls in the houses, and it's worth any rant, anything that he does. But he is the heart and soul that makes the sober living side run. So big shout out to him. Love you, Dad. Thank you for all that you do. On the treatment side of things, just Jayco the team, Tyler, Jonah, Layla, Jackie, Dez, Roxanne for getting it done, Bravo, Heath, it's totally a team effort to get that type of stuff accomplished. It starts with, just getting the ball rolling and putting one step in front of the other and not knowing necessarily how it's going to work out. And that's one of the things that I think we do differently. I'll never forget when we had Tom Fay of Gambit who came out to the house and he had toured the spot and he was like, why would somebody want to come here if you're only 4 years sober and, Eric's 18 months sober and you have Bravo who has 15 years or you have Heath who has 11 years, but why is someone going to choose Plugged In Recovery? And, I kind of had given him the whys and how he summed it up was best. And he's like, wait, it's because you've been around long enough and with the success that you've had with the sober living side of things and you being a good person overall is exactly what doesn't work. What doesn't work with all the other programs that are out there that chews people up and spits them out just so they can get them back one more time and run them through the cycle one more time. And you can do things differently to give people an opportunity to actually get sober and actually recover. And I do think that is something that started with a mustard seed of an idea, and we have picked just those key people who have tons of experiences. Malika, LCSW, she's a lawyer. She's every initial veteran. Jackie, who's a veteran, and an LPC. We have all of the therapy. We have all of the actual recovery from the hardcore 12-step side to Malika bringing a little bit more of a smart recovery side. We have all of these different things, and we know exactly what doesn't work, and we know what does work in the program. So being able to get back to that root thing and not really having to answer to, a board or answer to a ton of investors or answer to all of this type of stuff is we can actually get back to the roots of helping people recover. And we've already had that success with our alumni. They're super heavily involved in meetings. They're starting meetings. They go into other centers and they give back. Like, that is what I'm most proud of. The TJs, the Shannons, the Amandas, those people who got out and got after it, and they're making that ripple effect in the community, and they're being better in their kids' lives, their families' lives, all of those types of things. Tim, just coming back and sponsoring people and showing up, and like, that's what recovery looks like. And I'm just, when you talk about something to be grateful for, like, that's what I'm grateful for. I'm grateful for not having to fit into this mold or not thinking that I have to have all the answers, but knowing exactly what doesn't work and being able to not do that and go towards what we know is tried, tested, and proven to work. And I think that we're doing a hell of a job at it, as self-judgmental as we can be at times.
Right. No, that's good, man. And so, so we're going to get a little more regular on the pod. So we'll always have, just kind of new things to talk about and new things to celebrate. But for everyone watching or listening, happy Thanksgiving. Like we said earlier, if you are struggling with anything, just reach out. There's resources and people happy to help all over the place. A great place to start is at your local meeting hall or your sponsor or somebody like that. And if you do feel like you need a higher level of care, you can always give us a call, have that conversation. If we're not the good fit, we have tons of people that we work with that we can definitely point you in the right direction. So thank you.
We'll see you in a couple weeks.
See you in a couple weeks.